All right. Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. We are a D&D streaming group that streams on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. My name is Ethan Dill. I'm the Dungeon Master for this show, and I'm all out of order. Nick, do you want to introduce yourself, and then the rest of you can take it away from Nick?
Oh, no.
Yeah, what is it?
It's the Dungeon Situation!
We can start over.
Waiting.
I'm Nick. I play Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who is the Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer.
I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, and she is a human rogue pirate who's full of awesomeness.
Oh. I'm Zach, and I play Hunter, who's a Warforged Fighter Ranger.
So like I said, we stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, and then post those episodes to YouTube the following Wednesday. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom wild magic table, so if you're watching along, you can be aware of that as you watch. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and in Compotech. And then our character portraits, which you can see in the info cards in the top right, were drawn by the artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. If you're watching us on Twitch, you can check the channel page for links and info to everything I just mentioned and more. And then if you're watching us on YouTube, you can check the video description for a similar amount of information. Then, if you want more information about when we're going on break, when we're coming back from break, etc., you can follow us on Twitter @AntiheroesAnon. And other than that, we just hope you enjoy the show and come back for more if you do. So, quick recap, and then we'll get straight into playing our 99th episode. The party was joined by Kamiko, so a monk out of time who they met on the island, Kamikame Island. And they then set sail towards their ultimate destination of the Elderhaven Reaches. The compass they had acquired activated a huge passage in some sort of massive landmark that rose out of the water, and they sailed their ship into it. They there encountered a group of lesser giants led by a troll named Shutan, who asked that they help the troll, not just the trolls, but the lesser giants win in the reordaining games, which were currently about to take place, which would allow Shuten's faction to rise in the ordaining and basically convince the other giants to let the party steer the vessel that they're riding in towards the Elderhaven Reaches. Mara.
Different campaign.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd have to kill a lot of giants to steal this vessel, but I'm not going to say you can't do it.
Level 20 goals.
Mara won the first competition in a thoroughly rigged game of dice against the Cloud Giants. Thaddeus then went on to win the second competition in a duel to unconsciousness with a Fire Giant Paladin. And then Hunter won the party their final competition by out-hunting the Frost Giant Chieftain. That night, the group had a series of strange dreams, where each of them saw one of the four great spirits of the Elderhaven Reaches being strangled or killed in various ways by the black serpent Orochi. So Thaddeus saw a statue of an Elderhaven Reaches style dragon being strangled by Orochi, and there was also, I think, a cracked mirror that was on the ground somewhere there.
Said it was in its mouth.
That's right, it was in its mouth. And then Harmony saw a vermilion bird in a tree being accosted by the serpent. And then also there was a gem of some appeal on the ground that was featured in the dream. Hunter saw the white tiger Byakko in a similar predicament, fighting off the black serpent. And I can't remember where it was positioned in the dream, but there was a sword that was also featured there. And then Mara, while the rest of the group was having different dreams of their own, sort of stayed and watched as the black sea turtle struggled against this serpent. But then the turtle actually called out to Mara and asked for help. And then the group of you those dreams faded to black, and eventually you awoke where you fell asleep on the hearth of the Frost Giants. You are just where you were before, right in front of the fire, in a nice cozy area covered in all kinds of fur pelt blankets, and that's where we're picking up today. Mara, when you awake, you had let Pinky go to explore this area, but when you awake, he's actually curled up with you.
Did you find anything good?
Do you have a way to ask him? He's just curled up with you and sort of sleeping quietly.
Well, we were training, so I should have some signals, so I'll do my little sign language. It's when I sent him. It was part of this training.
Speaking of thieves' camp.
Yeah?
Maybe
That would be
thieves'
funny.
camp.
That would be funny.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, if you wake him up from his sleeping, he just kind of gives you this sleepy, one-eyed look, and then you just hear in your head the telepathic thought, food? And you can tell it's just groggy and sleepy. So wherever he was probably out till late.
Okay.
Partying.
I'll let him sleep.
And then, yeah, the rest of you wake up at some point as well.
Okay.
Where am I?
We're in the.
Where are we?
Oh.
What?
We're still in the Frost Giant Lodge.
Frost Giants. Right.
Yeah.
Why does my head hurt so much?
I don't know what happened when I left, but you were pretty gone when I got back.
We were having a party.
Already? No.
Yeah, to
Did you
remind
win?
you,
Did we win?
We won.
We won?
We won.
So no stone throwing for you, and no stuff.
I had a good plan, too.
you hear Kamiko mutter under her breath, thank the four group for that.
I mean, I could have kicked ass on that stone throwing thing, but
We can still do it, I
I
guess.
just remember a lot of sparkly stuff and guys with long and white beards. Was I dreaming that?
No, those,
did I turn you
those
into
were
an
the Giants.
Did you?
I think I did.
And
I'm
yes-
sorry.
Yes, you did.
Did I kiss Thaddeus?
I don't remember that.
Did you?
Did you?
No, I tried to kiss the giant. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I leave for a small while. That is sleeping.
That is knows what happens. He wasn't as drunk as everybody else.
It's sort of at this
Very
point that you
small.
become more aware of the wider situation in the lodge, which is much more toned down from what it was last night. Last night was kind of a raucous party celebrating the Frost Giant holiday of Thrimtide. But as you look around the lodge, there's just sort of one or two Frost Giants in there that seem to be enjoying a hungover morning meal in complete silence. Just no words
Yeah.
exchanged. They seem to do like communal eating here, so there's like roast, some kind of monstrous creature, probably a wild boar of some kind that is turning on a spit over the fire, so you could go get some of that if you wanted. There is also, as you look around, I don't know who would notice it first, but probably Hunter, I guess.
Okay.
There's a piece of paper that is sort of tucked under one of the pelts that you guys were sleeping on. And it's a big piece of paper because it's obviously like you're in a giant area. And scrawled in really messy block-like letters on the piece of paper is the words, the giant leaders are converging to meet in the Cloud Giant's castle and discuss the terms of reordering. Should be a few hours. I've arranged for Cobbleloaf to take you into the Stone Giant area. And it's at that point that you notice sort of standing away from the other Frost Giants, sort of at the door, looking out of place, the two-headed orc-like creature that is the Etten Cobbleloaf. And it just seems to be having some sort of an argument between its two heads in the corner.
I'll walk up to him. Couple, loaf. Good morning.
Oh, hey,
Hi.
says one of the two.
Did you guys get some good sleep last night?
No, you wouldn't believe it. This one wouldn't shut up. Drunk all night long. And when he finally passes out, then I'm awake. It's morning. And yeah, like one of the heads you can see, like obviously looks hungover, while the other one does not.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to Hunter and mention the dream that I had.
Yeah, and then I think when we discussed that, then I would tell you about mine, and we'd probably all.
Yeah.
Last
Sure.
time we had the same dream about the turtle, right? And this time we had different dreams?
So, I think.
Am I remembering that
Well,
correctly?
one of the other dreams that we had, I don't know if we all had it, but maybe it was just Thaddeus about the eye and the moon or whatever.
That
That
was
was just
mine.
that.
That was just yours, but then okay.
No, I was talking about the last time we all had the
Zach, you missed a session a while back,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of that session, the one you missed, the whole party had a dream where they saw the black
Yes.
turtle being accosted by the serpent.
the
Oh,
end of
okay.
episode 97.
Oh, okay.
Dreams of
Um,
Black Sea Turtle entwined by Orochi.
And so this time you all saw that dream at the start, but then it branched off.
Oh, I see.
For everyone except Mara.
Okay.
That's interesting. I'm glad I got the bird. The bird's the best one.
You say so.
All fiery
Yeah.
and
So-
regal.
I'm guessing this means that Orochi's gaining more and more control over the reaches right now.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Is the reaches split up into regions based on which deity they serve?
In fact, Hunter, if you wanted to use this opportunity to elaborate a bit about the reaches as they are, they are a country of 4 seasons. In that, the northern region of the island continent of the Elderhaven Reaches, it's always winter. That is the domain of Genbu, the black turtle.
Yeah.
The southern region, always summer, the domain of Suzaku, the vermilion bird. Eastern is always spring, the domain of Seiryu, the azure dragon. And then the western region is always fall, the domain of Byakko, the white tiger. So, yes, it is divided by their domains.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist that joke.
I know, I loved it. I love it
You
when you
guys
think
are
it's snarky.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I was like, oh god.
Okay, so each region then is being taken over slowly by Orochi, basically is what these dreams are telling us.
And
Not just the north, but now all 4
Correct.
regions.
Yeah.
and one of them is dying.
They're all dying, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that maybe that just signifies or symbolizes all
Maybe.
losing control.
So basically, we're in for a lot of shit when we get there.
Sounds like it.
Things are getting better. Yeah.
But we're ready for it.
Although, to be fair, I kind of assumed that they were already fucked before we even started coming here. Like before they even came to
I agree. I don't think
what's
they
Farendale? Foldland? Ferandale?
Freyden?
Freyden?
Freyden.
I was like, what's the name of this
Continent
continent?
of Freyden.
Freyden, yeah,
Wow.
before they even came to
Capital of
Freyden.
Farendale.
It's not
Thank
Ferelden.
you. Ferelden. Before the hands even came to Freyden, I kind of figured the Elderhaven Reaches were already kind of doomed.
I mean, we knew as much from you, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't news to us, kind of.
The only new involvement there was is
Look at
that.
him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although that happened to him. That happened to him in Ravenmore.
Well, yeah, but then okay. So, anyways, the only thing that I think was news to me was that Oren was working with Orochi
Mm.
Right.
and or trying to resurrect him or doing something, plotting.
But you knew that Oren and the Eyes already had control.
Right. We.
Well, and then
yeah.
once we
I mean, that's
figured
why
out
that's
that
why I fled. So.
Oren and Orochi were working together, it's kind of easy to put the pieces together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, even the fact that Oren was working with that Oren had some involvement with some great spirit would probably not be news to you, because the sanctum that your village guarded was sort of what it was guarding was a closely kept mystery that you weren't in on, but you knew that it has something to do with being a passage to the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Should we go meet with the stone giants?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we have more business here.
Cobble loaf take you.
Thanks, Cobble
So the frost giantess chieftain is gone, right?
Yeah, from Shuten's letter, you can sort of imply that they started their negotiations early.
Okay. Shrug. Yep. We have nothing else to do here.
Okay, so as soon as you're ready and set to go across to the Stone Giants area, Cobbleloaf begins to march you across the plains in that direction. And it's basically just a constant comedy show of the two heads bickering back and forth and occasionally coming to blows.
I'm sure Harmony's not helping
when
me either.
when they come to blows, I'll like use minor illusion to distract one of them with like butterflies or something. Try and like bring them out of the fight and into like, oh, look, pretty butterfly.
Without fail, they fall for it every time.
To kind of get them back on track.
Yeah, because they'll like stop and like fall to the ground, like wrestling with themselves. I don't really know how to describe it, but yeah. And so that sort of distraction is necessary to keep you on your path.
If you cast Dominate Monster, would it get one head or both, do you think?
Probably.
I'm not saying you should. This is just an academic question that I
I
have.
could try.
Well,
We can
I was trying
experiment.
to figure out how they both didn't get drunk. Only one of them got drunk. They have two separate systems.
It's a mystery. Maybe they have two separate
Anatomy of
stomachs.
Netton.
I don't know. Probably only one of them.
Regardless, I'm going to pull up the map on the screen so you can see. But they lead you from the place where you were sleeping in the Frost Giants' domain, sort of to the north and the west. And they bring you down along that main road that passes in front of the Cloud Giant castles. And you can see that the Cloud Giants are milling about their farms, tending to their giant produce. And you actually witness at this point something you've heard talked about before, which is Cloud Giants concentrating on the weather over specific farms and causing it to rain or be sunny, depending on what the crops need, and sort of growing their produce to enormous size because of their ability to control the weather directly.
And that's what. Sorry, that was which giant's doing that?
The Cloud Giants.
Cloud giants. Okay.
And then Cobbleloaf leads you south and to the east to a large range of mountains in which you can see a giant-sized cave entrance that has been carved into the mountain and hollowed out and begins to lead you down that way. And at the entrance, it's sort of like a ravine with steep walls on either side. And as you look up the walls, you can see, those of you with dark vision can spot gigantic forms, just barely, since they have this sort of stone gray skin that blends in with the rock, moving about on top of these ravine walls. So you can infer that if you were to sort of force your way down this way, these giants are here to basically hurl rocks down on you from way high above. And it would certainly be a difficult thing to penetrate to this area. You're led further in, and eventually you come to sort of a stone giant common area where you see more of these, you get sort of a closer up look of these stone gray skin giants standing taller than most of the giants you've seen at, I can't remember their height, but it's something like 25 feet tall. They're very lean and they look really athletic and tall, of course. And most of them you see sort of male or female are bald. And they're all wearing these sort of just crude and simplistic pelt garments. And they sort of give you, each of them gives you like a raised eyebrow look. But for the most part, once they spot Cobbleloaf, they just sort of shrug and like go about their business and mill down different passages and things like that. The other thing you notice as you're in this sort of central hub of the stone giants is that the walls here, this entire area, are painted with pigments of all sorts of colors. You only notice when you bring the lights over, because for the most part this area is dark. But when the lights illuminate the walls, there are paintings, and it looks like there's paintings that have been painted on top of other paintings for hundreds of years. So there's the entire wall is covered with art. But Cobble Loaf sort of leads you directly through this artistic common area and further down into, like down a sloping tunnel. And as he does so, he sort of turns to you and says, Cobble Loaf doesn't know the way to the spiritual center. Only Shuten know way. So Cobble Loaf take you to closest place he knows.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
And leads you down for quite a ways. It seems like this tunnel descends for several minutes before leveling out, and you start to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And as you emerge into a vast chamber, you see basically stalactites that stretch up towards the 70 or 80 foot high ceiling, basically formed entirely of this crystal, this bluish crystal. And the crystal is giving off a soft glow, and there are these crystal stalactites sort of evenly spaced throughout the cavern. And Cobble Loaf, as he leads you forward amongst the rows of crystal pillars, says, these crystals, supposedly Stone Giant's ancestors. Cobble Loaf don't understand.
Can I touch one?
Yeah, as you touch one, it's sort of warm to the touch, which is unexpected, but also make a perception check.
Sure. First roll of 2019.
Thank you.
And all of you can make a perception check if you want, if you're watching this happen.
So much pressure. All right, now I'm gonna roll Percy. I'm gonna roll Percy. Natural 20.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll definitely see.
First roll.
First roll. You rolled before me though.
Yeah, but I didn't roll in the thing,
Okay.
so it didn't
Yeah.
count.
Natural one.
14.
I rolled an 11.
Okay. So everyone
For a second,
but
you were gonna re-roll.
everyone but Hunter notices that this, as Harmony touches the crystal, there's sort of like what you thought were naturally darker portions of the crystal that sort of move as she touches it, and you realize it's actually almost like a shadow within the crystal. And as you now, with this awareness, begin to look at all the other crystals, you start to see the shadowy forms of giant-like creatures sort of moving about within the crystals, and they'll go from one crystal to another and stop and like seemingly interact with another shadow before passing to another crystal. And Cobble Loaf, just basically oblivious to all of this, leads you forward through this cave until you get to the end of the cave, where there are several passages that split off, and Cobble Loaf says, well, this is where Cobble Loaf don't know where to go. But crystals are pretty. And then the other one basically sort of rolls its eyes in a big arc, and then just sort of says, yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep, because if we're gonna be waiting here, there's nothing else to do, and I'm pretty hungover. So that head seems to go to sleep, and the other Cobble Loaf just kind of shakes his head.
Wait, so are we waiting here for
That could take a long
Shooter, or are
time.
we just gonna explore?
Might as well explore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's walk around.
Maybe we could.
What
You
happened-
guys, I've trained you so
We
well.
belong here. We're not trespassing.
What happened when you felt it?
It was warm.
How many passages are there?
There's 3 here, but there's also a couple branching off from other sides of the cave.
I say dead center.
Better guess than me, so.
Who has the highest passive perception?
Oh, him.
You do?
Probably.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to Hunter's judgment.
What do I notice? Or is there?
Sort of as you're deliberating which direction to go, you look around the cave. And as you do, moving in one of the crystals, you spot a form that is not shadowed like the other giants that you've seen, but it is in fact a colored image of some kind, and it flits out of sight, going sort of back the way you came into the crystal cave area.
So it's like a,
Leaking beacon.
but it was like the image of a giant that was like,
No, it was like human sized.
oh, but it was going back where we came.
Yeah, you just sort of caught it at the edge of your peripheral vision, and then it was gone.
Okay,
Like
So
it
like-
had moved to another crystal or something like that.
that's weird. Yeah, I think center's fine.
I have
So,
an idea.
What?
I'm gonna walk up to one of the crystals. I'm gonna put both my hands on it and I'm gonna say, "Oh, great ancestors of the stone giant people, please show us the way to the core."
Okay, roll just a general charisma check.
Okay. It's pretty good. 22.
Okay. Hunter, again with your passive perception, you see sort of a flit of motion coming from one of the crystals now on the other side.
okay.
Another colored image. And in fact, it's probably the same one based on the color of it. And Harmony, it's just a few seconds before a figure seems to come around the corner of the crystal, like as if it's traveling around the crystal, and stand before you. And you recognize this figure with horror. As you are gazing, all of you now who can see this, upon the slightly younger but very distinct visage of Orin.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Clad in red robes with silver lining, but the unmistakable bald head, no circlet upon it at this point in time. Same color of eyes, though it seems as if there's less wrinkles in the skin and things like that. It's very clearly a younger version of him. And he comes around the corner and the voice projects through the cave and it says,
I take my hands off the crystal.
it says, "Oh, are you lost?"
Are you lost?
Orin?
You don't look like a stone giant to me.
The image cocks its head to the left and says, "Oh, you know me? I'm sorry, I can't seem to place. Who are all of you?"
I think like Thaddeus has like one hand on his sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The image doesn't seem to be like taking any notice of the fact that you're taking a hostile posture.
But this is just an image, right? This is not.
I mean, as far as you can tell, it seems to be like on the other side of the crystal, as if
Okay.
Orin were somehow within the crystal looking out at you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get in there? You don't look like a stone giant ancestor to me.
It was still with the head cocked to the side. It says, "What do you mean? In where?"
Where are you right now?
Well, I'm in. That's a good question. I remember my friends and I. We were looking for a way to the east. Ah, it's all coming back to me. We found a great black structure that rose up out of the water. We went inside. We spoke with some giants who lived within the structure, and they said that there was a way to move it towards the east, and we were looking for that. And as he's speaking, you notice 3 other shadowy forms of humanoid size kind of grouping around him. You can't, like they're shadowy, so you can't make out any details, but one detail you catch on 2 of them is slightly pointed ears. And then the other one seems to be a little bit shorter and a little bit stockier. But they just seem to be sort of lingering behind Orin.
I don't remember my geography. The east? Does that mean from Freyden to the Elderhaven regions?
Mm-hmm. Elderhaven Reaches is the eastmost
That's
continent.
what I thought.
Yeah.
But I thought Orin was from the Elderhaven regions.
Orin was from Ravenmoor.
That's right, because he had a tower there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm dumb. I remember now.
Okay.
All right.
And he sort of seeing a little bit of confusion on your faces, and then also sort of seeming as if he's just recalling all of this himself after having forgotten for some time. Says, "Yes, there was some plight. I remember. We made a discovery, and we had to do something to stop it. And we were going east to look for clues.
What was it?
The magic in the world, all of the arcane potential, the weave of it. It was fading, getting weaker.
The dragons
He shakes his head. I don't know. Dragons?
were gone. I mean, they weren't. That's where the magic came from in the first place. At least that's what I've been
He
told.
nods his head and says, yes, you're right.
If
I
do
meant your
remember
hat,
reading that.
or your case, by the way.
He tilts his head to the side. My case?
Your magic case is protecting something for you in your tower.
You've been to my tower.
Yes, that's how we knew who you were.
And he looks at the group of you and says, are you from Ravenmore?
Yes.
Well, that's just incredible to think that I would meet someone from my hometown here. I don't believe it.
How long have you been gone? When did you leave?
He thinks and says, I don't know. It's all foggy.
have you ever heard of a group called the Eyes of the World?
He shakes his head.
Funny, it should be crystal
How
clear.
old does he look in this image?
Perhaps 10 to 15 years younger than the last time you saw him.
Okay. So he's like, is he a child or is he like?
No, when you saw him, he was. I mean, he doesn't have hair to like signify his like that
Yeah.
his age by the fact that it's going gray. But when you saw him before, you would have guessed that he was. I mean, at least 40s, 50s,
Okay.
somewhere.
Okay.
Older guy.
All right. Huh.
I say older, but I mean like middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's probably 30s, 40s.
Okay.
So you're on your way to the Elderhaven Reaches to look for some way to bring the magic back.
Yes, I remember we found records of a country to the east where. I remember why we needed to do this. The magic. It was what was keeping us safe. Us humanoids, from the monsters.
Right. From
Without
the
it- Without it, they'll just come back. They'll just enslave us again. We needed to preserve it. And we had discovered that to the east there was a country where people were never enslaved by the monsters. And we wanted to go there and find out more.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, we're basically kind of doing the same thing. Trying to save Freyden from being enslaved by monsters.
Well, that's incredible. We should work together.
Sure.
More
Can you
the
show
merrier.
us how to get to this core?
He looks around and says, I don't know how?
Perhaps there's someone there with you who knows.
And he sort of, the image turns around so its back is facing you. And you can hear like muttered mumblings as if it is speaking with someone or something. And you can see the other shadows behind it of the sort of two pointed-eared figures and the shorter, stockier figure seem to be gesturing. And he turns around and says, no, none of us know.
Who are your friends?
Some like-minded individuals I encountered after I left Ravenmore. Well, there's a priest of Coralon. Hold on, I have information about them. Give me just a sec.
As if you didn't know, you would ask.
Yep. A priest of Coralon, a nature worshipper who's concerned about the well-being of the nature of the world, and a stalwart friend of mine, a warrior. I must say, without him, and he sort of nods to the sort of dwarven build fellow, the shorter, stockier guy. Without him, I don't know where we'd be a lot of the time. And he gestures to the other two and says, like me, these other two, they just, well, they're not much good in a up close and personal fight.
Sorry, just for clarity's sake, out of character. The priest of Coralon and the nature worshipper are two different people.
Yes.
Okay.
He said it so fast it sounded like
Yeah.
the same
Yeah,
person.
priest.
Sorry, no.
Your fancy priest.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified.
It seems
that.
like he nodded to like one of the pointed-eared people when he said the priest of Coralon, and then to the other pointy-eared person.
Okay, and then so the third one is the warrior. Okay.
So what happened once you found this black rock vessel thing?
Well, I told you, we spoke to some giants, and then he came down here.
And are you still waiting?
I think so.
Okay,
Huh.
Guys, I don't want to wind up in there.
Yeah, me
me
neither.
neither. Well, but he didn't. Just part of him did.
It's interesting. A little ominous.
A shard of
What
myself.
happened when you talked to the stone giants?
Well, they were reluctant at first, but we were fortunate. One of their kind had seen a prophecy about the dwindling magic in the world. They eventually we convinced them to let us steer this vessel. They called it. Yes, a vessel. They said they'd let us steer it in the direction we wanted.
And
Did you
then
happen to play any giant games while you were here?
And like tilt his head to the side. Giant games? No.
How did you get them to allow you to steal the vessel? Did you trade them anything or pay them?
He shakes his head and says, "No, like I said, one of the stone giants, they knew of a prophecy and they snuck us through."
What did this giant look like?
The image kind of laughs a little bit for the first time and says, "Tall, gray skin."
Gray skin?
they all do.
Yeah,
They all look
yeah.
like that.
I can't remember
Bald?
the name. It's just fog.
Well, I thought some of them were different. Some of them wear different clothes to tell them apart. Alright, then.
No. All right. I don't think I have any more questions.
You guys covered everything well.
Well, if you're going, let me come with you.
You know what? Why don't you stay here and we'll come and get you once we talk to the stone giants and make sure we're still on course.
He kind of like gives you a long, sort of uncomfortable look from the eyes you remember in a much more hostile context, and then says, "Okay, sure, we can wait." And the image kind of like fades back into the crystal, and then
I
the
prestidigitation
group of them
myself.
sort of migrate around the crystal and out of sight.
Prestidigitation.
I don't know if I'm so keen on exploring anymore.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to think now.
Maybe touching those crystals isn't a good idea.
Huh.
And
Wait, but he seems so nice though.
Warm and fuzzy contact. Huh?
So, I have a theory.
That everything that was good about him got sucked up into those crystals? Because that's my theory.
Well, my theory is that he found Orochi
That's what I'm thinking too.
and thought Orochi was the answer.
Here?
No, in the region.
When they made
Oh,
it there.
well, yeah,
It was corrupted.
obviously.
But I think Orochi got to him, has replaced him basically.
Okay, that also happened. We know that happened. I mean, we know something with Orochi happened. I'm talking about that, and I point to the crystal where he was.
Oh
How did that
it's
happen?
just a blank blue crystal now that sort of glows.
Yeah, I would love to know that too.
That's what I'm talking about.
At that point, you hear a voice from behind you that you recognize, and it's Shuten's voice, and he says, "Well, if you want to know about that, I can explain a little, I guess."
Is that going to happen to us? Is the main thing I want to know.
Yeah, but it's nothing to worry about. And he sort of like knocks on one of the crystals and says, "Hey, Shuten, get out here!" And you see sort of drifting listlessly from one crystal to the next and making its way in this direction, a colored form of the troll you recognize as Shuten. And when it gets there, he sort of like knocks on the crystal again and says, "Hey, you doing okay in there?" And the crystal version of Shuten replies, "Yes, it's fine. Everything is fine. And then the regular Shuten basically just sort of shoos that one away, and it just kind of drifts back the way it came. But the Shuten you know then turns to you and says, "It's nothing to worry about. These crystals are just highly magical. They sort of are in tune with spiritual energy and capture, as if in a painting, the spiritual state of someone when they enter this place."
So it's already happened to us.
Probably, yeah.
Huh.
I knock on one. Harmony! Knock, 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 knock. Are you in there?
Yeah, you see running from the other side of the hall a sort of darting from crystal to crystal, like a pink flash. Right?
Oh no.
Oh.
And
Can you
then
handle this?
skidding to a halt in front of you, and then standing perfectly still is an image of Harmony.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm short.
And the Harmony in the crystal says, I am short. Why am I this short? And then it looks at Thaddeus and says, "You did this to me."
I thought they were all pretty docile and still listened until we saw this one.
Yeah. Take it up with the other me.
I think I will. And the Harmony kind of drifts off again.
Oh, you're in for it now.
I'm not.
Shuten then speaks up again and says, "See, it's harmless. It's just so that the stone giants who live here, they're just so concerned with preserving knowledge and art. The ability to communicate with their ancestors is so important. They found a way to create these crystals. So especially since this entire vessel is so spiritually sensitive. It just sort of, they stumbled upon it, I guess. I don't know. But they use it to sort of communicate with people they've seen before."
That's pretty cool.
Is the wisdom of the hill giants also stored in here?
Mm-hmm.
If you think any hill giant has ever been allowed down in the stone giants, and he says,
So only the people who come here, not anybody in the vessel.
right.
Okay.
Wisdom. Proof true.
I knock lightly on one and go, "Cobble, love."
Oh no.
Into the crystal.
Roll a general charisma check.
24.
No.
24.
I rolled a natural 19.
Yeah.
Only good tonight.
What's
I know.
really interesting
nervous.
is two forms come forward through the crystals towards you. They seem to be sized the same as Cobble Loaf, but where there would be two heads normally, you see two distinct bodies, each with one head, and they come forward and sort of stand there docilely and dumbly looking around.
Huh. Hey, Fatty, I think this answers your question about my spell.
You know, I think it does.
Oh jeez.
I could do this all day, so.
Yeah, let's.
Maybe we should go.
Shitten, do you know which way to the core?
Yeah, I do, actually. And I brought with me some of my boys so that we can open the door for you. And he kind of, he gives a little whistle. I didn't want to scare you, so I didn't have them come forward right away. But they're here with me.
Wait.
Wait.
I want to see what he looks like.
Do we call you by Hunter or do we call you by your name?
You can try both.
I knock on a crystal. Hunter!
So it's entirely dependent on your spiritual state when you entered the room. So, right now, who does Hunter feel like spiritually? Is he the Warforged version of himself, or is he him before he...
I would like to say that it's like a little bit of both.
Okay.
So it's like you can see that it's like, I want to say it's one of those like half down the middle type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you see like half Warforged, half
Creepy.
human face.
Yeah, well, that's just horrific.
Wait.
But it looks more like a mask maybe than an actual.
That is like puts up a hand
Like a human
and
who's
closes
wearing a
an
mask
eye,
in the
so you can see
Warforged?
only
Oh,
like
yeah.
this and half.
Yeah, it doesn't work perfectly because there are parts where like the more robotic part will, it's not like a
Mhm.
perfect divide
Yeah.
down the middle. Like there are parts where the robotic part covers more and then the human part covers more of the
Yeah.
shoulder, you know.
I'm just trying to get like an idea of what Xant looks like.
Yeah. What will he see when he does the half and half?
So
I'm
you
looking
see, I guess
That's awesome.
someone that's like similar. What would you call that? Like features of from a country like Kameko,
Mm-hmm.
where you have like the eyes and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
sort of typically Asian.
Yeah,
The
Asian
eyes.
features and all that stuff. And then he has like longer dark hair, maybe down to like his shoulders. He has a couple noticeable scars, like around here on his, I guess right around his chest. He's pretty athletic. And then other than that, I don't know if there's any other noticeable features that I thought of for him.
What sort of like?
Build.
No, I was gonna ask like what do his eyes look like? Like what is his expression?
expression? Like, are you talking like the spiritual?
Yeah, I mean, how does Hunter feel? Does he feel determined? Does he feel nervous?
Probably determined. Probably like he's like ready to do something. Like he came in prepared to move forward and kind of like go back to his. He's like itching to go back home and kind of resurrect his homeland and save it. And so he's that's sort of his I guess expression. So
That's so cool.
Well,
hey, that's
we
me.
know.
I mean, wow. You kind of look human-ish. More so than you do right now.
Yeah, I'm halfway there, I guess.
Hey, I can probably, if I use my imagination, make you look human with my disguise magic.
You can make me look
So-
okay. I see.
Like that. Or, more human than that. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
now that I know what you're kind of supposed to look like.
If you're tired of being that one guy from
I
Evermore
can-
all the time,
But you
That's
have
true.
that
We can make it look
hat
like
that I
you.
made you.
Yeah.
You could do that to yourself too.
Huh?
That
Oh,
hat
with the
that
hat,
I made
yeah,
you.
I guess I
yeah,
could.
you could do that to
Yeah, I guess
yourself
I could.
too. Make yourself look like your human form. If you need to be yourself when we go back
That's
for
true.
any reason.
That's true.
I forget you met him when he was already like this because it seems like you've known him forever.
Yeah, I've never met him when he was human.
It's sad.
Yeah. But like if I cast seeming, I can make all of us look like people from the Elder Haven Ranges, and I can make you look like yourself. Because
Okay.
then I know what you're supposed to look like.
When they first met Hunter, he was a purple mist in a jar.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, but
That's
more-
true,
more
because
of us know
Tal pulled the lever and it got
Maybe,
put into
maybe that's what I look like in the mirror. In the purple blob. That's me.
with tiger stripes.
Yeah. That's funny.
Sorry, I wanted to see what would happen if we called Hunter.
Okay.
And Shutan says, "No, yeah, that's really interesting. To be honest, it's really intriguing. I don't mind stopping for this. It's no
Well, do
problem."
you guys want to call you two since we're here?
I have
I
a
don't want to know.
pretty good idea of my own spiritual state. Thank you.
Pinky
Yeah,
does-
so do we all.
I know, Pinky.
Pinky.
It's like this bloodness.
What if we call
Rat
Biako?
King. Huh? Who?
Biako.
He's already-
I mean, he's already in his spiritual
Spiritual
state, isn't he?
He's a spirit.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, let's go.
All right. And now he gives that whistle and says, "All right, I brought some of my boys to help open the door, and a couple of the ogres and trolls that you'd seen before sort of come forward out of the shadows. All right, follow me." And he takes the right path from here and begins to descend deeper down into the tunnels, eventually coming to.
As we go right, I'll say, "Hey, Shutan, what's down that path?" And I point down the middle one.
To be honest, I don't know. I really only know the certain paths through the stone giant tunnels. It's a maze. You don't even want to know. And like as he's explaining this, you take another path, like that's a left at a fork, and then there's several other forks beyond. So it would have taken you quite a while to explore the maze of tunnels that is down here. But eventually, it opens up into another vast chamber, which is this time lit, actually, by giant torches that are basically like entire trees in sconces, and that seem to be continuously burning. And there is a set of stone double doors sized for giants, so they're perhaps maybe 30, 35 feet tall doors. and there are basically chains on pulleys that look like they're to be pulled to open up the doors. And Shuten says, all right, well, whatever happens, the spiritual center is through here, so if you're ready, I'm just going to open up these doors. And you can see there's like giant runes carved onto them.
Are you expecting something bad to happen?
Look, I don't know. I've never actually really been inside myself.
Huh.
Hmm.
I stand behind Thaddeus.
Thaddeus draws his sword, just in case.
I'm
The
just gonna
soft
stand
glow
right
of
here
Thaddeus' sword
in your nice
illuminates the
little
area.
aura. Your nice little
Yeah.
saving throw bonus.
And then Shuten shouts an order in Giant, and the ogres take up positions on the chains and begin straining and pulling backwards, and the stone doors with a sound begin to open up slowly, almost agonizingly slowly, as the sound of heavy stone grinding on stone basically just echoes throughout the chamber. And beyond, you can see another vast chamber that is just dark.
This place really goes down deep, doesn't it?
Yes.
Really huge.
I mean,
For
yeah.
being something hidden under the ocean, you know. It's crazy.
It's a spiritual center.
So we'll hold the doors open, and you can just go on ahead if you want, I guess.
Well, leader?
Well, let's go.
Okay.
And Shuten kind of turns to have a conversation with Cobble.
Bye, Shuten, thanks.
All right, and then I guess we walk in.
Okay. As you walk in and your dark vision and Thaddeus' sword glow begin to take effect, you see before you a room that once must have been almost lush and green. There are plants basically all around this room, but all of them seem to be withered and dead, and they cast long and almost haunting shadows across the room as Thaddeus' sword lights it up. The center of the room is dominated by almost like a raised mound. There's a groove that goes around the mound that is several feet wide in each direction. And then on the mound there is a statue in the very center of a turtle carved out of black stone. And as you sort of get closer to this mound, you can see that the groove that goes around it, especially probably Hunter, who's spent a lot of time in the wilderness, you can see that it would be like the bed of a pond, except the water has all dried up and evaporated and gone somewhere. In Harmony, you spot in sort of the rocks that make up the bed of this pond the chalk writings of arcane glyphs sort of going around the mound in a circle.
Can I tell what the glyphs are meant to do?
Yeah, make an Arcana check
Okay.
with intelligence.
So normal Arcana.
Mm-hmm. Just have to specify.
With charisma.
Not bad.
Yeah.
21.
Okay. Yeah, especially since you know the spell Teleport. These are the arcane symbols that make up a teleportation circle.
Okay. That's good to know.
And Kamiko strides forward to the center
So that
mound.
could bring us back here easily.
Kamiko strides forward to the center mound, taking almost no notice of the rest of the room, and puts her hand on the black turtle statue, closes her eyes, and begins to almost meditate, it seems. She goes silent for a few minutes.
I look at Hunter. Has she been here before?
I mean, we didn't ask.
How'd she know who did it?
In the crystals.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, no thought crossed my mind when I figured she's pretty close to her spiritual self too. How did she get to Kame Island in the first place? Did you ever ask her that question?
She told us.
Did she tell us?
Did she tell us how she got there?
I don't think you ever asked.
Because we know that she was looking for like her mother, or like her mother's spirit.
Yeah, you know that she was there with the group of followers of Genbu who were basically building all of the shrines on the island
Yeah.
and placing the compass there.
Right.
I mean, it's a long way from home. But
Maybe the fog didn't exist in those days.
if they placed the compass on the island, maybe it did.
Mm.
And the compass led us here. So
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
she has been here before.
She would have to be then, right?
She can't understand you. I was going to have her say something, but she can't understand
No,
you, so
she
she's
can't.
just focusing and meditating.
I mean, you could ask her.
I'll ask her.
We're not talking behind your back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if she's meditating, I don't want to bother her yet, but
She more like she seems like she's focusing.
okay.
But she then, after a few moments of that, opens her eyes and begins to look around the room and actually walks forward towards you, Hunter.
Yeah.
So, if you want to ask her that.
Yeah.
at the time.
Did you notice anything?
Yes, something is
You-
wrong.
Have you been here before?
Not here, no. But you remember I told you earlier when I touched the rock further up above that it felt alive, that I could
Mhm.
sense ki flowing
Yeah.
through it? This is the center, but there's something wrong with it. It's wild, it's crazy, it's not ordered. Like a living creature in good balance is ki should be.
Hmm. So,
So-
sorry. Go ahead.
It's just been swimming randomly. I assume you're translating this stuff.
Yeah. So,
Well, it coincides with my dream that the turtle wants help.
Huh?
So how are we supposed to help it?
I know.
I'm the last
but
person
is-
you want to talk
Well-
about
is that
controlling anything.
turtle? Is that Genbu, or is that just some?
Kamiko shakes her head and says, I don't know, I mean, it could be. Something of this size certainly could be. And the thought has crossed my mind that we could be somewhere within Genbu in his very shell.
Mhm.
But whatever it is that we are riding in currently, something is very wrong with it. This is the spiritual center of its being, and it's almost as if it's having a heart attack, but
Oh.
continuously.
Huh.
I couldn't feel it when we were up above because I was so far from the center, but here it's obvious.
Strange.
I'm gonna use divine sense.
Okay. What does Divine Sense detect for you?
I know it's fiends, celestials, undead.
Giants.
I'm trying to remember if there's anything else or if it's just those
I
things.
think you can detect
No.
desecrated ground and hallowed ground.
Yeah, hollow ground and desecrated ground.
So it's not technically desecrated, but since I want to give you something for expending that, when you use your divine sense and sort of extend your spiritual nature throughout this room, you sense a little bit of what Kamiko is talking about. There is, but you sense something that she doesn't quite sense. It's almost as if there is an evil presence here that is, like, you don't detect the key that she can sense, but you detect some like evil presence in a way. It's not like something that is physically in the room with you, just something about this place feels evil. Almost as if it were desecrated, but not quite.
I'll cast Detect Magic.
Okay. There's a faint shimmer of magic around all of the like dead greenery in this room. Sort of a magic of like growth and life, but it's like obviously faint and dwindling. Sort of reinforcing the idea that this room was once lush but is now dead. And to answer your question, Hunter, when you asked Kamiko what she thought that you should do at this point, she replies, I don't know necessarily, but whatever is ailing this creature isn't a physical issue. It's within its spirit.
Can I track spirits?
Do you have a feature that lets you do something?
I have favorite enemy.
And what does favorite enemy do?
Gives me advantage on tracking my favorite enemy.
So I would say you could roll a.
It's a survival. It says advantage, wisdom, survival checks to track your favorite enemies.
Yeah,
As
go
well as
ahead and roll a
intelligence checks.
survival check and see if you see any. Can pick up on any spiritual traces of anything in this area.
Do you have advantage on that?
I do.
Can I
It's
have
a
your
22.
notes?
Not anymore.
No, don't worry,
Hunter, though he's probably never stepped into the spirit world, knows of it
Mm-hmm.
and the ways that creatures come and go from it. Sometimes there's physical portals, like the one that your family supposedly guarded in your
Yeah.
village. But other times there are locations where significant meditation can pull one to and from the spirit world. And when you're in those locations, there's usually a sort of spiritual connection that you can.
So I wonder if this is one of those portals then.
Right, you sort of
Okay.
feel that sort of sense of spiritual energy in the air that you would expect in a place like that.
So okay, and so I would say I think this is a portal to part of its like a spiritual realm within this beast.
Maybe something got in through the
It's
portal.
possible, and we could. I mean, I don't know if we should, but we could try and enter as well. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. Maybe that's what we're brought into this room.
We're supposed to be meeting somebody here. I mean, like giant. Maybe we
no.
can get more.
I mean,
info.
I kind of expected there'd be some
Maybe this
stone
is how you
giant
steer
down
it.
here, but I think this is basically the steering wheel, right?
Yeah.
And it's broken.
Okay.
I'm willing to try. If
I'm-
you two will show me the way.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. You guys.
So I'll ask Comic Hub, and you've been to the spirit realm before.
Turtle's broken.
She nods sort of solemnly and says, "Yes, I can guide the group of you.
Okay. Do you think that's a good idea here? Or
I
should
don't know
we-
what we'll find on the other side,
Yeah.
but I think that whatever it is that is ailing this creature is there."
Okay. And is this a closed room other than the door that we entered from?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have any other places to explore anyways, so.
Okay.
So Kamiko goes and sort of sits down cross-legged in front of the statue and sort of motions for the group of you to follow her.
Okay.
I take my place.
I do
Me
too.
too.
And she sort of looks around the group of you and says, "You're going to have to focus, letting go of your physical self entirely. It's difficult for many who have strong attachments to this world, but with the right amount of concentration in an area as spiritual as this, anyone should be able to enter." And presumably Hunter translates that. And then she closes her eyes, and after a brief moment of focusing, her eyes reopen, but they are there's like a brilliant blue glow there. And she's completely silent. But it's almost as if like there's a wind blowing in her hair. And other than that, she's completely still.
Well, I guess we'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So I'll try
I need each of you to
and
make
free my mind.
a simple wisdom check.
Just straight wisdom.
Yep.
13.
Huh?
And
What that? Like,
Wait,
10.
10?
it's
You mean-
wisdom? It's not a saving throw. It's just a wisdom.
Oh, sorry.
No, 5.
5, okay.
Sorry.
10.
10.
16.
16. So,
Pretty apt.
Oh, I have to roll for
the
Bianca
group
too.
of you, Byakko doesn't have to make this check. As you're watching, Hunter, Byakko almost sort of is distracting you because he sits down next to you and his tail is kind of flicking you slightly. And as you kind of look at him out of the corner of your eye, you spot his form basically shimmer for a moment and then dissipate entirely.
Oh, cool.
You also see Thaddeus, whose eyes were closed in focus, the eyes whip open and the same blue light is shining out throughout the cave. The same almost like wind rippling through his hair. The rest of you are still here for the moment. We will come back to you in just a second. Thaddeus, Kamiko, and Byakko appear in the spirit world. And what you see is essentially a version of the same room you just left that is distorted and twisted. It's almost as if like the walls of the cave were taken and like twisted 90 degrees, so you can see like there's a spiral to them almost.
Oh wow.
There's no doors to this chamber. It is a solid, almost cylinder of rock, black stone. And it is largely the same room you just came from in terms of features, except that there's no vegetation at all. The room seems to be barren, and it's dusty and dirty, and there's no greenery in here at all. The turtle statue in the center, which you sort of find yourself sitting next to, is actually a statue of an 8-headed, 8-tailed serpent.
Oh no.
Sort of wrestling with a black sea turtle. And the sort of channel where the pool would have been surrounding the central island seems to be full to the brim with poisonous snakes. You can tell that they just have these, they have the very venomous colors to them that indicate that. And they, as they sense your presence, you see several of their heads like rear up towards you and hiss in your direction, but they can't seem to get out of the channel.
Are the others here?
No, but what you can see is almost as if in a ghostly outline, the squatting form, in sort of cross-legged forms of your friends sitting still, but it's like they're intangible and almost halfway invisible. The other thing is that I mentioned that the walls were kind of twisted in a weird and sort of nonsensical way, but they're also, as you sort of shine, well, as the room is actually naturally lit, as you look around, you can see that the texture of the walls is almost scaled like the scales of a snake, and that is what you see.
Yeah.
The group of you can make another wisdom check.
All those of us who got left behind.
I think I got the same thing. I got 12.
Even worse.
Mara,
very
on this
spiritual,
second one, I'm going to give you advantage, and I'll explain why in a second.
Okay.
I got 13.
13, okay.
17.
17, okay. As you're trying to focus on getting into the spirit world, as Kamiko described, you find your mind is just racing, and you can't quiet it down. But you hear a voice in the back of your head that's just, it's not a voice so much as a feeling, and the feeling is trying to tell you, here, I'll help calm you. And your brain then begins to quiet, you're able to focus on detaching yourself from the world, and Harmony and Hunter, you see Mara's eyes fly open with a blue glow, and Mara appears in the same situation.
Turtle power.
Mara, looks like we know our enemy here. Are you ready?
It's looked just like from my dreams, only squirmier.
You want to start?
Which one to do?
Kill it?
So we're inside the moat of serpents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harmony and Hunter, you're the two on the outside. Would you make for me a perception check?
Can I do my wisdom check next time? It's a 22.
22?
4.
You hear from somewhere nearby you, Hunter, the sound of the stones in the groove shifting, just briefly, and then it goes back to silence.
And I'll tell Harmony that something just moved.
Cool. It wasn't me.
But what, it was just like stones grinding or something, or was it
It was
like,
just like the stones that would have formed the bottom of the pond that surrounded this main island. shifted briefly for a second.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Chronicler did say that the island was, or the stone's alive.
The group of you in the spiritual center of this area can see another ghostly form, a large and green form sort of moving towards the center of the island, where it then sits down cross-legged and becomes still. And you hear a voice from somewhere high in the chamber that just says, "Oh, he's coming. You guys are in trouble now."
Let him come.
And the voice kind of seems, as it's saying that, seems to be like spinning around the chamber, so it's not coming from any specific location.
What's this thing that's sitting in the middle of the chamber?
It is, like I said, it's a replacement for the turtle statue.
Yeah, but you said that like something just like sat there.
Oh, yeah, you want to go over and sort of investigate that outline that you see?
So real quick, how big is the room? This is all giant size, but like, is it a really enormous room?
It is a really enormous room.
Okay. I for some reason I thought it was like small for some.
Yeah.
I
I'm
know, when he said cylindrical,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I got.
So, but it's a huge room, and so everything is like the statue's big. Everything's really
Right,
big.
yep.
Okay. Got it.
Go ahead and roll a perception check. I need to now tell you something about being in the spiritual realm.
6.
Okay. It's not going to matter.
Maybe you
with
don't
this
need to
one,
tell me.
But what I need to tell you is there will be some alterations to your stats in here.
Oh, okay.
And you're just probably going to have to make them mentally for while
Yeah.
you're in here instead of altering anything on D&D Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Mara, this doesn't apply to you. While you're in the spirit world, all your scores are counted as if they were 10 for the purposes of calculating saves, attacks, and skill checks, as well as spell save DCs. But it doesn't affect how HP and AC are calculated. And the other thing is, as you sort of warily reach for your sword, you realize this thing. None of your magic items will work in here. With the exception, Mara, you feel no different. You still feel perfectly connected to Fujin and Raijin.
Well, I guess I'll get out.
So any bonuses that you have for like magic armor or your magic shield
Mhm.
will be decreased from your AC.
Okay.
So that's the bit you'll have to calculate.
Okay. So I think my AC will only go down by 1. No, by 2. Yeah. Will the sword? Does my sword still work as a sword, or does it just
It's
not
just
work?
an empty hilt.
It's just an empty hilt. Okay. Well, I'll take out a javelin then.
Okay.
This is wild.
This is not ideal.
So the magic items they're gone, or are they just not magic?
They're not magic. They won't
Okay.
function here.
Okay.
Strange.
I know.
But Thaddeus, as you went over next to the form, you can't make out what it is,
Mhm.
but it is nearly maybe double or triple. It's hazy, so it's hard to tell, but it's much larger than a human, and it has this weird green glow coloration to it, but you really can't make out anything more from it. Why don't you guys give me another wisdom check?
Okay. Come on.
This time, Hunter, I'm going to give you.
Oh, I got a nat 20.
Okay. You hear a voice that you've heard before when you speak with Byakko, sort of calling to you from the back of your head. It says, Zant, you must come through quick. There's danger here.
I come through quick.
What did Harmony get?
18.
18.
There it is.
So the both of you, your eyes in the normal world flash, and then you are within the spirit realm. Do you need me to repeat the changes to your stats?
So
Or you
all the
guys
stats are 10. Magic items don't work.
Right.
AC and HP are not affected, and
But-
unless you have items that bump it up. So I actually do have the bracers of defense.
Right, so those won't work, so that will affect your AC.
Right.
So-
So I can't remember how much that bumped up my AC. Was that 2?
I'll figure it out. I think it's 2.
I think it's 2.
So then the proficiency bonuses, those still work, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, there's no pluses to anything
Just
unless
all
you
our
have
stat modifiers.
proficiency in it.
Okay.
Except for Mara.
Huh.
Braces of defense are a +2 bonus.
Okay.
Get me nervous how I keep saying that.
So my amulet, what's my amulet doing?
It is a dull gray color.
Oh, jeez. That sucks.
At least it's not going crazy,
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
you know? Because
Uh,
the alternative to me not
Yeah.
The group of you, now that you're in here, Hunter, you can see that Byako's fur is on edge.
Yeah.
And you hear the same voice that Thaddeus heard earlier, sort of spinning around high in the chamber.
I'm gonna take a look around the room.
He's almost here, and then you'll all be dead.
So I'm gonna look at where Thaddeus is looking to see.
Oh yeah, I never heard what that thing was.
With your 6, you couldn't
Oh
really
yeah,
tell.
yeah.
You can roll a perception check with advantage because of your spirit tracker
Okay.
abilities.
That is okay. So this is
+5.
perception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 24.
24.
Well, I mean, it's your stats. Well, did you say his stats are still 10?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
for stats. It's for ability. Yes, hunters are, and it counts for ability checks, saves, attacks, and spell save DCs.
So
So everything.
you only add your proficiency, not your wisdom modifier to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Oh, he
He
did.
rolled a 19.
Oh, okay.
I thought he rolled 15.
He rolled a
19.
19.
Okay.
As Hunter, you walk up to that sort of ghostly outline
Mhm.
that Thaddeus was inspecting. There's a moment where it seems to shift into clarity for you, and you can see it for what it is. And it is the lanky troll body of Shuten. And he seems to be in deep meditation. And as you're sort of investigating that, you hear a voice echo from another side of the chamber that says, well, I didn't think I could hide from you for much longer. I must admit, and it seems to be moving around the chamber, just this bodiless voice. I must admit, I'm not going to take too much pleasure in all of this. I did enjoy working with the group of you. But you fulfilled my need, and now I must fulfill my end of a bargain to someone else.
Can
And
I
the
make
voice
an
is just-
insight check?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gonna be
Yeah.
absolute shit because I don't have any bonuses. To insight.
Hunter, you can also make a survival check at advantage.
That's a 9.
What are you trying to determine?
If this is the real Shuten or if this is just a dark world version, like a nightmare version.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to tell. The only information you have is that Shuten seems to be in the physical world meditating near you.
24.
I thought he was holding the door open.
24. There are a number of creatures, spirits, that you know that could potentially have be doing what this spirit is doing, which is communicating from a disembodied voice in that sort of way.
Okay.
That is to say, you know several that can become invisible. When it comes to those who could potentially impersonate a troll convincingly for a long time, your options get narrower. And you are pretty sure that you are dealing with an Oni.
Okay.
And you hear that sort of high-pitched voice that you've heard before say, "Oh, Shuten, it looks like he's figured it out. Look, look." As what form would Hunter's spirit take? Would it still be that half,
I mean,
or would you be fully?
Human form.
I mean, this is up to you. I want to say human.
I think human.
That'd be badass.
Yeah.
The long black-haired human one. Oh, I guess there's two of you.
Yeah.
Looks like he's figured it out, though. And Shuten, there's just kind of like a low chuckle from the voice that you presume is Shuten, or the evil version of Shuten, or what have you.
Yeah, I thought the Shuten in the real world was holding the door open, so I'm confused.
No, his buddies were.
I thought he stayed back with them.
And he
But
said he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we would have noticed it if he came to sit with us.
Unless she became invisible.
That's true. Well, wait, but you can sense invisible people.
Yeah, she's got blind sense,
Yeah,
but it's
blind
only within 20 feet of her.
Oh, okay. And I guess you could have snuck in or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
The voice of Shuten goes on and says, "Well, if you figured it out, then I suppose there's no more fun in playing with you much longer. Just please keep in mind that none of this is personal. Like I said, I did fully enjoy it. And let's roll initiative."
Okay.
I went back and forth. Would you guys like a map for this one? I could draw one, or we could theater of the mind it.
I like maps.
You like maps? Okay,
I like
I'll draw.
maps.
Well,
So do we get a bonus to initiative or no?
No.
Right.
The good news is that my
Except
dexterity
unless
was
you're Mara.
already 10.
Oh, there you go.
Unless you're Mara, then you still get all the bonuses.
The
I
bad news,
needed all the bonuses.
the bad news is that I rolled a 4.
Yes. I rolled an 8. Not that much better.
I also got an 8.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
But, what, okay.
But you
What are
get a
Byaku's
+7.
stats? Are they also 10? Or is he normal?
Byakko is normal.
The proficiency thing, but it's not.
How would you guys like to be positioned around this obelisk?
Oh, it's not for initiative. You don't have proficiency in initiative. Mara gets all her bonuses and she's rolled a fucking 1.
Right, that's the second
Did you really?
time.
Yes, she did.
Wow.
Okay, you're going in timeout.
She's still gonna beat me though.
It's a great.
Not so much
Oh,
in D&D.
yeah. Okay. You also got an 8.
Sure did, but her dex is higher, so.
Oh yeah, so she goes
Oh, there's
first,
snakes.
and then
Before
we are
me.
tied. Do you want to go before me, or do you want me to go?
Because we're both at 10.
Yeah.
Depends on when Byakko's going.
I don't know exactly where I was,
Going
but I know I
first.
was standing next to Hunter.
So it's Byakko, Mara,
Yes.
and then what?
Yeah.
Normally your dex is higher than mine though, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't
Come on.
matter.
What is your dex?
It's at 14.
Oh, mine is 2. So
Yeah, we're like actually
we're
tied.
actually tied. That's weird.
You can go first.
You guys can
because-
just go on the same initiative and pick.
We can pick based on what's happening.
Oh, okay, I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
And yeah,
Uh,
because we are literally moving exactly
We are
the same way.
actually tied on many different ways.
let me just get some battle music.
Oh, Emily's here. I don't know how long she's been here. I just noticed.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hello.
I don't know if she's still here, but she was here.
Oh, remind me to tell the boys what I did to her before you.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell them and I didn't. That was good.
So, yeah, that's fine, I guess. And those are just snakes down there.
This looks familiar. Is that obelisk?
The obelisk is
So
you're double
Hunter,
dipping.
Mara, everybody's on 8. Wow, except for that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for that.
Yeah.
So Mara has a higher dex, so we figured she could go first, but then Hunter and I are tied for
Yeah,
dex.
so we'll figure it out.
So
Alright, Byakko's up first.
So what do we see?
The same room as I've described. Any enemies that might be in here are invisible at the moment.
like the most handicapped in this fight. I
Except
feel
Shuten?
Nope,
Well-
everybody's invisible.
Oh, he's
It remains to
invisible
be
too.
seen if I still have my divine powers, that might be something.
What's Kamiko
like.
doing?
We'll find out.
She has withdrawn both of her daggers and seems ready for a fight.
And are these...
Oh, I need to roll initiative first.
So this is a moat, and then this is just more flat ground? And this is the end of the chamber?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's no way out. It's like the whole
This is...
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But the chamber extends several feet up into darkness, like maybe 60, 70 feet. It
Okay.
definitely goes out of sight.
So right now all we can see is Shuten, and there's like all the snakes.
You can't see anything but snakes right now. Shuten, if he's here, is invisible.
Oh, I thought that the person sitting cross-legged was, but did he turn?
That's sort of the same ghostly form that you see.
Oh, it's his
the rest
human
of you.
world form.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think we can interact with it.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I think maybe we can.
Okay.
I think I want Byakko to use to do a perception check and look for the enemies.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that then.
Okay. Can he smell here?
Yes.
Okay. So he got a 30.
30, okay. Yeah, Byakko basically looks over in this direction,
Uh-huh.
this direction,
Okay.
and then this direction and snarls.
Okay. Yeah, we got
And
that.
he seems to look in like the two side directions first, and then the direction closest to me, and that's where his gaze fixes.
He fixes that way?
Yep.
Okay.
So with my blind sense, can I see anything?
You have to get closer, I think.
It needs to be within 20 feet of you, right?
But you know, generally those areas are
So if
where
you-
invisible.
Oh,
Okay,
over there
so-
you might.
yeah,
get-
so-
Yeah.
So how wide is the moat full of snakes?
It varies from area to area. It looks like it goes as thin as 10 feet across to as wide as 20.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna fly.
Well, it's not your turn yet.
Oh, sorry. Byaku's still going.
Oh, no,
that
it's
was
the enemy's turn, probably.
The end of Byaku's turn, unless he wants to move.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, it sounded like it was your turn.
I know, I'm
I
sorry.
think Byaku's gonna step this way.
Okay. You hear that female high-pitched voice chime in again, and it says, "Oh, Shuten, who do we kill first? Oh, I don't know. Why not all of them?" And I need everyone who's there to make, on the island, to make a, what sort of save? Constitution saving throw.
I guess I have a question that's going to determine a lot just by the answer to this.
Yep.
Do I get a +4 to this or not?
You do.
Okay.
And
All of your
do we
abilities still work.
So we get +4.
It looks
Or
like
plus-
Hunter
Oh,
will.
that's a good point, because it's based on your charisma modifier, isn't it?
Oh, you're right, it is.
So no.
Which
Yeah.
is +0.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright. Cool. Sorry, you said this is Constitution?
Yep.
Okay.
22.
Pass.
21.
Pass.
8.
It's not gonna pass.
10.
It's not gonna pass. Byako needs to make one as well.
Oh, yeah.
Thaddeus, where does Thaddeus's resistance to cold come from?
His sword. Oh no, the shield. The shield.
All right.
Fail.
Okay. And I need to roll one for Kamiko. Kamiko is also a failure.
So mean.
We're starting off real great, guys.
Yeah.
She's tough. She'll be fine. Let me roll some damage.
You have to.
Also, is there anything specific I know about Onis that would help?
Yes, I'll get to that in a second.
Sure.
How was it? Sorry, I was not ready for combat as I thought I was.
It's okay. It's been, what, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Okay, so one more after this.
Oh, the good news is that people who are in my aura still get a bonus of +1 because that's the minimum that I can have.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how wide is your
Would
arm?
anyone, would that
10
have,
feet.
10 feet. So it would have just affected Hunter.
Yeah.
would
Which
that
I
have,
passed, so.
yeah.
So yeah, mine would have been a 9, which would have passed.
Okay.
But it's
In
good
which
to know.
case, those
That's
of
good
you
to
who
know.
pass take a total of 21 points of cold damage.
Those are those who passed.
Yes. Those of you who fail take a total of 42. And two
That's
creatures
exactly how-
become visible to you, floating above the snakes.
What kind of damage was it?
Cold.
Having both cast, it seems, the same spell in sort of a cross section to catch you all. These creatures that are standing before you are giant-like in their stature and size. They're maybe 10 to 12 feet tall. They're hovering magically in the air. They are wearing cloth trousers of some sorts and shirts as well. But the shirts are and trousers are both sort of ripped and ragged. And they have long white hair that comes down to their shoulders. And they have these wicked, demon-like visages with crooked teeth showing in their mouths, yellow eyes, and a pair of sharp horns protruding from their forehead, and just blue skin, entirely dark, deep blue. Hunter, you asked what you might know about Oni.
Yes.
There are several varieties of Oni. Many of them are more physical brutes, in the sense that they're very tough. All Oni are clever, so that's not really a distinguishing factor. But some of them are more physical brutes in the sense that they are tough and tend to wield sort of melee weapons of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Others are more tricky spellcaster types, which is what these two must be.
Okay.
And then that's the end of their turn. They're hovering about 10 feet over the snakes, where they are right now. You then hear Shuten's voice say, "Well, I've had plenty of time to observe the group of you, and I plotted this moment for a while, and I think I know who I need to go for first." And with there's a whoosh of something passing through the air quickly next to Thaddeus, and I need to roll an attack. So the first attack has advantage because he's invisible. It's going to hit with
Wait,
29.
so the two that appeared aren't him?
Nope.
Okay.
The first one hits with a 29,
Yeah.
so we'll roll some damage on that in a second. And then the next one does not have advantage, but it's a natural 20.
I think that is just like instinctively goes for his shield and then it doesn't do anything.
I mean, it's still a shield.
No, but I mean like for the shield spell.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Wow, I'm rolling high on damage.
Oh boy.
23. So the first hit does 23 points of bludgeoning damage,
Mm-hmm.
and the second one does... No, I'm sorry, I rolled 48 for that. It should have only been 3. Let me just re-roll entirely. Wow, much better for you. That's 10 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh my god.
Okay.
And then the
Okay.
critical, which is 6, 13, and 23. 23 plus 6, so 29 for the critical. As the first attack hits you, the creature becomes visible. It's similar in size and stature to the other two Oni that have become visible, except this one is wearing a pair of ripped and torn trousers, but is completely bare-chested, revealing rippling muscles under bright crimson skin. It also has a bit of a scraggly little beard going that gives it almost a more human look than it should have, and wicked-looking horns coming out of the top of its head. And I will show you the image for Shuten.
Mm. Uh-huh.
Ew.
Nice.
Don't forget to show the camera.
Someone we want to have a fly and rail with.
We gave him octopus.
Oh, that's right.
And he seems to be hovering at a distance of about 10 feet from you, and swung at you with what is a wicked-looking iron club that is massively sized for his body. Then that's the end of his turn, and it is Mara.
Okay, so I'm gonna fly
Mhm.
toward.
That's your action
Well-
though, so you won't be able to use another
The
action.
other thing
if
is
you're
that,
flying.
hang on, the other thing is that I think everything's invisible now.
That's true.
So we have access to, I think, all the
You can
enemies over
shoot
here.
anything with your bow,
Or just,
Okay.
or
Where am I?
throw your
You're right
daggers
here.
at them. But if you cast fly as your action, you won't be able to attack
Do you have a
this
Right.
round.
Do you have
Right.
a token for shooting?
Oh yeah, sorry.
and everything's so far, I don't know if you're gonna get much out of it. You can though, if you want.
Well, I was gonna try to go get out of sight so they can attack me, and then I was gonna throw my daggers from up there where I could see them, but they couldn't see me. That was my plan. But do you think I should attack this round? Let's go for
It's
it.
up to you, Ma.
Yeah, it's up to you.
You do
So-
what Mara would do.
What would Mara do?
I'll whip around and attack the one that's closest to me
Okay.
This guy?
with the. Let's do the.
So you wanna,
Let's see. What type are they? Like with the lightning one.
did you wanna jump out of the ring first? Or did you wanna stay in?
I'm gonna stay where I am. Just turn around.
Oh, you wanna throw?
Throw it.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
What's the range on that?
They have different ranges.
20, right?
One of them is 60,
20
I
feet.
think. The
the
fusion
lightning
is
one?
the wind one throws
The
further,
one
right?
that goes further. How far away am I from the?
I mean, no more than 20.
Yeah, you're about 20.
You're about 20.
So yeah, I'd rather do the lightning one.
Okay.
Right.
Raijin goes streaking through the air, crackling with lightning as it goes. And how much?
15.
15 against one of these blue ones. It's not quite enough. It goes
Should have flown.
whistling past it, and as it does,
You also
it kind
would've had
of
a sneak
illuminates
attack.
the face of the Oni, and it just grins with a wicked smile.
But is that one you can bonus action warp back to your hand?
Yes.
You might want to do that.
Yep, as long as I'm on the same plane. Yep.
Okay, the dagger teleports back to your hand.
Shoot sharp speed.
Anything else you want to do on your
You
turn?
can move if you want.
No, I want to move a little bit closer to Harmony. That's what I'll do.
Alright, so here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I narrate what happened when they cast their spells? It was just like a blast of cold
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
If I didn't, so. Okay. Hunter, it's your turn.
Or
Okay.
my turn.
Or your
Oh,
turn.
yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I have a plan that might affect what you do.
Why don't you go first then?
Thank you. I'm going to, first of all, if I hand off a potion to someone, is that a free action or is that an action?
Sure.
Free action. So can I like back up to Thaddeus and hand him a greater healing potion?
Sure. Just let him know when he comes back.
I will. He probably won't. He might reject it because he's like, I have healing, but like I feel like it's better if he holds it rather than me.
You just have to force it into him.
I just, yep. So I give him my last greater healing potion.
There it is.
So remind me to tell him when he gets back. And then I'm going to hold my breath and cast Dominate Monster on this blue Oni here.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
And my question is, does the change in skill scores affect my save
It
spell
does
DC?
affect your DC.
So save spell is 8 plus,
Proficiency,
Proficiency plus
stat. So it's just 8 plus
stat.
proficiency.
so it'll be 8 plus
13.
5, which is 13.
Okay.
Fuck
And
me.
it's a charisma or
I
well,
just had it open. I think it's wisdom.
it was
It's
mess with spell save DCs, or it was you can only cast a certain level of spells, and I thought this would be better.
Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
So charisma, you said?
No, wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay. 16 plus 4, so it passes.
Cool, because that's my, there's my big bread and
How
butter
much? What did you
spell.
roll?
16 plus 4, so 20.
So even if I use my Venlock, it's not going to do
Yeah.
fuck all. So cool. None of my spells are going to be any good at all. because
You get a wicked grin from that one, and it sort of lets out a taunting phrase. That's not gonna be enough to do it against me.
Fine, then I'm going to quicken spell fireball it.
Yes. Okay. Dex save.
Because fuck all.
It fails its dex save,
Good.
and it's not resistant to fire.
Does that mean
tonight.
it's
Which one did you go
So
for?
I handed you a greater healing
Oh,
potion.
okay.
the
So
far
you
one?
have-
The one for the
You have a greater healing
Plus the
potion,
speed.
and I just wasted my 8th level spell
No.
because my spell save is now 13 instead of 19 because of stupid fucking stats.
Yeah.
But I get to roll fireball damage, which is I didn't say I cast it at a higher level, so it's level 3, so that's
8d6.
8d6.
I was explaining to Kay that this should be preferable to what I had originally intended or had thought up, which was that you could only cast spells up to a certain level.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it reducing the spell save is somewhat better.
Not if none of my high level spells work anyway. So thanks for that. My first time we're getting to cast that spell too.
What was it? Prismatic?
Dominate monster.
Dominate
Dominate
monster.
monster,
It's
yeah,
gonna be super clutch, but I'm gonna be how useless as I normally am. Alright, I'm gonna up the damage on this one too. With my sorcery points.
Okay.
Because that's about all I can do. Oh, but
That's also affected by your charisma.
because it's my charisma score, up to my charisma score.
So
It's probably
Minimum
a
of 1.
There's probably a minimum, like there was for me.
Is it worth it? Up to charisma. Let me double check.
I'll just say it's minimum of 1, so you can do it at least once.
Alright, well I'll roll one of this one then, because fuck ones. Get these out of here so they don't.
I didn't think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Everything's fucked. Alright.
You're like, I'm gonna lower Hunter's strength to 10.
Harmony's over here like,
Yakko's fine.
I can never do anything. Okay, so that's 10, 20, 5, 29.
Okay.
points of fire damage, so eat that, you motherfucker.
Yeah, it holds up its hands and like hisses. It doesn't like it one bit. Thaddeus,
So
it's
it
your
said something like,
You need to go.
It's
it
my
said
turn.
something like, try, or you're gonna have to try something else or
Try
something.
harder. Take it.
Mhm.
Try harder. So
Yeah.
I'm like, alright! Fireball.
So,
How's this?
are you gonna move anymore?
Uh,
I'm gonna get out
yeah,
of
I'm gonna go hide behind the obelisk. Because I think I have movement left.
the
I
way.
like,
Behind? Where's behind?
I mean, from the thing I just hit, I'm like avoiding its wrath. So around the other side.
Oh, so you're gonna be.
But I want to
here?
stay within Thaddeus'
How's that?
aura. Yeah.
Okay.
Am I still within Thaddeus'?
You are.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as
yep.
he doesn't move.
Yep.
Okay, Thaddeus, it's your turn.
It's my turn.
It is.
Oh right, Hunter. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
having simultaneous turns doesn't work well with the card system.
It's
I
okay.
flipped over both cards.
Yeah. I'm gonna go and move over here.
Okay, just make
I'm gonna use my boots.
well with the running jump you can do that, no problem. Anyways.
Yeah, or whatever I need to do to get a power.
You don't have your boots in
Oh, not
spirit
with
form.
that
Oh, I don't.
cat.
That's right. Oh yeah, I don't have any of that fancy stuff, do I?
Oh yeah, because
That
you're in
sucks.
human form.
Yeah.
But
Changed my
with,
mind.
with your running jump you can make it over that. No
Yeah.
problem.
Cool. We don't have any
Alright.
more magic items anyway, so.
And,
as you leap over, the snakes do bite at you though.
Okay.
I need to find swarm of poisonous snakes.
My
Keep doing what
family
you're
gave
doing.
me a plus
Sure.
1 to my
I'll
safety too.
pull my bow
Rock
out,
rolls,
and
This is bad for
Stat
everybody.
things, the stat things.
I will
bad.
shoot at the one that
You take-
Harmony fireball.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. So I will. Do I have my scope's not magic? I have that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do I lose all my racials too? Because I'm not a warforged.
You know what? Let's just say you keep your Warforged things, and it's just kind of weird
There.
because like your
Because I
from
would
your
like-
human feet jets appear. That just keeps it simple.
Okay, maybe it's
So
like
you
an
look like a
illusory.
human? Yeah, it's like.
Maybe it's like you see like an image of.
You basically see a human in plate armor, I think.
Yeah, something like that, or like the warforged armor.
Like-
It's just a physical
Samurai
representation
plate
of
armor,
Yeah.
your
not-
spirit.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna fire upon this guy. I don't have the bowstring, right?
Right,
So I'm not
'cause
gonna. I
that's
can't use that. Okay. So.
I hate
all
everything
this
about
stuff.
this place.
So it's only plus proficiency, so
Mhm.
that's 21 to hit for the first one.
Hits.
Or sorry, no. Yeah.
The snakes only rolled a 12 to hit you, so forget about that.
Okay.
She help me.
Um.
Help me, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it now. I'll do better next round.
And then crap, I'm trying to remember this thing. Okay, that's fine. So
Thank you.
that's a 15,
Okay.
I think.
15 to hit or 15 damage?
15 to hit. Sorry. Into 17 to hit.
The 17 does, the 15 does not.
Okay, so 2 hits.
It swats one of the arrows out of the air, but the other two pierce
Okay.
into it.
Is it holding anything?
Yes, actually. It has in one hand a wicked-looking glaive.
I'm gonna
Of
do
monster
disarming attack on it,
Okay.
Happy sleepy face.
and
Really cute.
the other one's gonna be
It's like this.
It's a strength save.
half moon
yes.
eyes.
It is. What is this? It'd be
Roll a
strength.
22.
He passed. Okay, and then the other one will be normal. I think. I'm having trouble trying to map this out in my head.
So the only difference from damage is that it doesn't add your strength bonus.
Right.
Because that's a 0.
Yeah, I have everything written down in terms of strength. So that's 7 plus. Oh god. Plus 8, so that's 15. And then, yeah, 15
15 points of damage for the first one?
for both of them.
Oh, total?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it piercing?
Yes. It's piercing. I think that's.
Okay, yeah, it lets out a demonic as those two things pierce into it. It didn't like that at all. Now it's Thaddeus' turn.
Alright. If that is action, he's going to use lay on hands on himself for the full amount.
Okay.
Because he's hurt real bad.
Oh yeah,
He was down to like 30.
I saw.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's why I gave you that potion.
Yeah.
I was like, you're probably gonna redirect it into I have my own healing magic, but you know you're gonna
I mean,
need it.
yeah.
You
I'll-
needed
I'll-
it last time.
I'm gonna
you needed
use
this.
it later. Not right now, but later I will.
Yeah, yeah. that's
And I'm going to walk up to Shooten.
Okay. He's currently Yeah, you could get like right under him, and you're gonna have to like sort of jump up to attack, but you can do it.
Okay. Well, that was my action, but I am going to.
No, drinking. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm saving.
Yeah.
Um,
I was like, it's a bonus action. I was like, no, you didn't drink the potion.
uh,
Got it.
I need way more than that potion could give me.
Yeah. I know.
But I am going to use my bonus action to try and speak my vow of vengeance on him.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay.
You utter the prayer, and even in this strange and unfamiliar realm, you feel the connection with Asanahen that marks your foe for vengeance, and he almost glitters with moonlight in front of you, and he kind of looks at himself with a little bit of horror.
I said, you know what I'm capable of.
I do, and that's why you're going down first. And then it is Kameko's turn, and she runs forward and leaps up onto the Oni that is hovering up there.
Wait, where?
The
This
one,
one?
just the one closest to
On
her.
top of him?
She like tries to grab onto it,
Okay.
so she's making a grapple with her first thingamabob. Ooh, it's gonna be close. So that's 20 for the Oni, but for Kameko, it is
Huh?
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
only 16.
You're
So
only gonna
she
get one.
falls down into the poisonous snakes,
Oh no.
0.
and then sort of struggles her way out of them. And that was 10, 15.
So not to metagame for a second, but the good news, y'all, is that Kamiko is probably immune to poison.
Oh, yeah. She's really strong.
She's a high
She's
level
got the
one.
speed for it. So she's going to make another jump and try and grab with her second. And this time manages to grab onto the Oni from behind, sort of grabbing onto it around the neck. And then she has a third weapon attack, so she takes a dagger and plunges it into his shoulder.
Nice.
Go, Kamiko.
21, so that's a hit. Kamiko does not seem affected
Yeah,
as the rest of you do in this one.
of course not.
Must be nice.
Doing 10 points of slashing damage to him. And she is hanging onto its back right now. But I do need to check for poisonous snakes against her. Sorry about all this rolling against myself, guys. The poisonous snakes can't even bite into her. She fell into them and then sort of stepped on their heads individually, lightly running across, and just leapt up onto it from
Month
behind.
is so good, y'all.
Byako.
That's rough. Okay. There it is.
No safe thought.
Byako is going to. Actually, I think Byako's going to run and pounce on this one,
Okay.
following Kameko's example.
Yeah, I mean, Byako has enough athletics, he can jump up onto it. I'd say
Yeah,
that's fine.
and so he's going to do a pounce attack.
Just have him make an athletics check to try and get up onto it.
Okay.
Because he's going to have to hold on to it.
He failed. He rolled 1.
Well, the Oni didn't roll super high either. What does it add up to?
This is for
Athletics.
athletics.
You're looking for a 12.
It's not a 12.
Okay. Then yeah, he can make his pounce attack, but he goes sailing past. He can't like hang up.
Okay,
onto
sure.
it.
So I will do my attack. So he's not affected, so that's not good enough. That is a 15.
That misses. So the Oni kind of dodges out of the way entirely, and Byako just sails past, landing on the ground cat-like.
Okay.
Then it is the Oni. The one that Byako is fighting becomes invisible. And make a perception check for Byako.
Okay.
Can I counterspell that?
It's not a. Oh, actually, it is a spell. It does. Let me see if it has requiring no material components, but does it take verbal?
Invisibility is
Yes.
the verbal, somatic, and material spell.
So yeah, you could counterspell this if you want.
I am going to.
Okay. As you counterspell that one, it looks at you with
I haven't rolled for
frustration.
wild magic at all either since I've been here. Is that something I need to be doing?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not going to worry about perception then.
Yeah, it looks like it was going to turn invisible and then try and reposition.
That's the one I attacked before, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on her.
So she is instead going to
Yep.
sort of kick up off the ground a little bit and fly just sort of straight up,
I'm
maybe
just gonna
30
roll
feet in the
three-
air to get away so he can make an opportunity attack.
3d20s for my
Yeah.
wild magic because I've cast 3 spells since being here.
Okay.
And we're safe. But I did roll 2 twos.
Yeah.
That's a hit. That's 25, I think.
Okay, roll some damage for Byakko. The other one is taking out its wicked glaive and trying to get at Kamiko on its back.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's 9 damage to the
Okay.
Oni.
That's the one that harmed the
Harmony, yeah.
fireball.
And yeah, now it's upwards, I guess.
Yeah, now it's up several feet in the air.
How
But it
big?
wasted its action.
Uh-huh.
The one that Kamiko is fighting gets swings twice at its back with its glaive to get Kamiko and hits her once. So that is D10s. 15 points of slashing damage plus 4, so 19. Kamiko's still doing okay. Then it is Shuten's turn. The one thing I need to mention about the Oni is that at the top of their turns, a few of their wounds begin to stitch together. The one that Kamiko stabbed, the stab wound disappears entirely. The one that Byakko just slashed as it got out of range still looks plenty hurt, but healed up a little bit.
Okay.
Then Shuten, next to Thaddeus, but still floating up in the air, is going to press his advantage and keep making attacks with his metal club.
Can I attack him?
What do you mean?
I mean, he's in my bow. Now I can use my reaction to attack something.
Yes, so you can.
Yeah, get him.
No.
Wow, that was an advantage too.
29 and 21 for his 2 attacks.
Those will both hit.
What's your AC? No, I can't.
It's 18.
I used my reaction.
You can shield still though. Oh, you used your reaction.
I used my reaction
yeah.
and he can't use shield because
It's a magic item thing.
Oh, shield's a magic item. Oh,
his is, mine isn't.
oh crap.
But I did just use my reaction.
That's
for
so-
the spell.
Oh shoot.
I'm guessing a 9 does not hit.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Real bad. At least you didn't waste an attack on your turn.
It's a total of 36 points of bludgeoning damage as he just, with his big studded club, one after another, slams
these-
into you, battering you left and right.
Are these large creatures?
Yes. Then it is Mara's turn.
Okay.
We'll finish this round of initiative and probably have to pick up next time.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Get him full stat tomorrow.
You'd probably get your sneak attack if you hit shooting.
If you-
Or
Any of
any
them.
of them.
Any of
yeah.
them.
Well, not this one, because this is like way
Oh yeah, he's up high.
But
Shuten's this one.
yeah.
Okay,
Thaddeus
so
Th-
let me
This one
move-
is also engaged with
Yeah, let me move. That's the one Kamiko's with?
Yeah, she's on top
Let me
of
move
it.
closer so I can
Okay.
get within range
Okay.
to throw it again.
Oh,
Let's
well-
try it again.
You wanna okay, if you wanna throw, I mean you can throw from where you
It
are.
needs to be within 20 feet.
Are you?
Yes, a little bit
One,
closer.
two, okay. Okay, done.
Little dog spat.
How's that?
All right, come on. Come on. How do I do sneak attack? Come on.
Ah.
That's better. That is a 29.
29 hits for sure.
Yes, sneak attack. All the d6s.
Yeah, Kamiko is like, to support this, she kind of like wrestles it in the air around to position it so that you've got a clear shot at one of its vulnerable points, and
Nice.
she just shouts out in a language you don't understand, something that the rest of you, or Hunter, since you understand,
Yeah.
Keen would hear. It's like, here!
This would be like one of the combat words.
That's
though.
true, actually, so I guess
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
you would recognize
Not
she's
me, I'm
shouting,
the only one that didn't learn.
oh,
Yeah.
she's shouting like, here! And sort of gesturing to one of its weak points.
Woo! That's a lot of sixes. And a lot of
I'm
ones.
mostly seeing the ones.
There's 2 1s and 3 6s. Don't be pessimistic.
Above average.
I'm just saying from my
Above average. It's about
average.
average. It's about average.
30,
It's about.
36 plus 5 is 41.
There it is. That's the big hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is now looking almost as injured as the other one.
Is that the one that comes back automatically when you hit?
Yeah.
No, Fujin does.
Wait. It's a bonus action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fujin comes back automatically.
But that's right. Jen.
Anything else from Mara
But I
then?
wanted the lightning
So you're gonna bonus action
to
dagger
get
back.
the dagger back.
Okay.
So Harmony Hunter.
So I have a small plan that doesn't affect you. So if you have a plan that affects
I
other people, then
don't. Which one are you aiming for?
all of them.
All of them? My plan probably won't affect you either. So you go first.
Okay. So I'm gonna step back 5 feet, and I will take aim at all of them. And use disarming attack on all of them.
Okay, just one at a time?
Yep.
Sounds good.
So first one will just go, I guess, the closest to Fritz Whistle, the one that's above in the air. Actually, let's do. I'm not gonna disarm that one. I'm gonna let's try shoot 10 first.
Okay.
So regular. Okay, that's not bad. That's 22 to hit.
Hits. Yep.
Okay, so he has to make a DC 13 strength saving throw.
Oh, boy.
29.
Yeah, I figured he had that huge
29.
bonus. I just didn't know what it was.
Roll the 19 on that. So.
Yeah, there's no way I can disarm him. So I'll roll damage in a second, and then I'll try and disarm the one that comic is.
With a bad roll, you could disarm him.
He has to roll like a 1.
He has a plus 10, so he'd have to roll a 1
2.
or
You can
2.
roll a 2.
Hey, not worth it.
There's a 10% chance that could happen.
Yeah.
The other Oni aren't as strong as Shuten.
I got a 13 to hit the other one.
Does not hit.
Okay. And then, so I don't have to do a mastery on that one. So for the third guy, I'll try and hit him too with 1.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, that's kind of bad. That's a 22 to hit.
Hits.
And I'm gonna do a tripping attack. He said he's like 30 feet in the air.
Yep.
Okay. So
It's a what kind of save?
strength. They're all strength.
7. No, 10.
So he falls.
Nice.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't have hover. But he doesn't. So yeah, he falls.
Okay.
So I'll roll the fall damage. You just roll your damage.
I will. I'll roll his damage first. So that's. I think it's just this guy. Bad. That is a whopping +4, so that's 9.
Okay.
And then for Shutan, it's the same 2 dice. That's better. That's
I thought you
18.
aimed for Shuten first.
I'm just
You're just
rolling.
rolling,
Yeah, I'm just rolling them.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
18 to Shuten.
18 to him. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna use action surge and fire 3 more times.
I thought you might.
I think now's the time to do that.
Yep.
So that guy's prone, so I'm not gonna go for him. But I will.
Fire you out. Yeah.
Who do you think?
I feel like these 2 are going to be easier to kill than shoot him.
Yeah,
And
they're
getting
very-
one out of the fight is going to
I think I'm gonna go for this guy. That guy's prone, so I get disadvantage. I don't want him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we discovered their AC is higher than like 15, I think, right?
15 has missed.
So I can't use sharpshooter, I don't think, because that would negate my
Yeah.
attack bonus, and I just roll a natural like 17 plus, so I'm not gonna do that.
Okay. That's probably smart.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do a bunch of normal attacks. So that one
Yeah,
is
it
a
hits.
23 to hit.
Hits.
That's a 15.
Does not hit.
Misses. And that's a 13, which
Does
misses.
not hit.
Okay. For the hit, I will use. He's not disarmed, right? So I'm gonna
Right.
disarm him
Okay.
again.
Roll some damage for me, please.
I will.
This is the one the comic goes on top of.
Correct.
19 on the dice.
Yeah.
Plus
so he
4,
passes.
so 20.
Of course, he gets his bonuses. That's cool. Thanks, Ethan.
These are spirits.
I'm a spirit.
You have a spirit. There's a
I'm
difference.
kidding. I'm kidding. That is 12 plus 4, so that's 16.
Okay. Then it is Harmony's turn.
And that was to
How are they looking?
The 2 non-Shuten ones are already looking a little rough.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna take one step that way.
This way?
Yep.
so that I'm in a line with the motherfucker I've been dealing with the whole time, and I'm gonna fucking sunbeamer.
Okay.
He's
For him.
it's from. Does that affect you at all?
No, it's a saving throw.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Oh well. Okay.
What type of save is it?
It's like half damage on a successful save, so
Yeah.
it's a con save.
There's that.
It's pretty good. 21.
Doesn't matter because he still takes half damage, bitches.
True that.
She's such a little rat.
And I'm gonna re-roll one of these because I can. Use those sorcery points.
Don't forget to check for wild magic.
Sure thing, boss. Much better.
Much better.
Okay. So,
Couldn't get worse.
hush. 10.
True.
It could have been the same, and I had to take it.
That's true.
10, 18, 21, 25 radiant damage.
Okay, so
So
I'll
half.
down to 12.
And now I'm giving out a great bright light, so
The entire room is illuminated, and the Oni creatures of the night just kind of
yep.
hiss and recoil from
And
it.
then I'm gonna duck back behind that obelisk.
Did you roll for a while, man?
Then it's Thaddeus' turn. So
Nope. We're
Okay.
good.
Gonna take 2 swings at this guy with my javelin. Okay, well, that's good. It's 24 to hit,
That does hit for sure.
and a 15. No, a 16.
16 for Shuten is not quite enough.
Okay.
How much does a javelin do?
A javelin does 1d6 plus, for me, does 1d6 plus 2.
Don't know if I have any better
36
weapons for
plus
2.
Plus 0.
strength is 0 right now.
Oh, no, but it comes from a class feature.
Oh, then yeah, plus 2.
you. I don't have any better weapons to throw you.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna pour some smite into this.
You have no access to your spaces of holding at the moment.
Well,
Had
then I have
advantage all
nothing.
winners.
I got
Yeah.
nothing.
I'm gonna put
Okay,
a
none of us
level.
have anything.
This is so
It's awful.
funk.
I'm gonna put a level
Oh.
3 smite into this.
Okay.
So Ethan, technically that means I don't have arrows.
He's getting us.
'Cause the quiver?
Totally.
Is a magic item, and that's where I store the
We'll
arrows.
say, how many of you used up to this point?
9.
Would it be fair to say you've got, because you had a
Like a
non-magical
pouch?
quiver
You had a
quiver
non-magical.
before, would
Is
you
that
keep
where
some in
you-
there still?
I mean, that would be where I would put this, I think.
I
Why would I
feel
have
like-
2 quivers?
I feel like having to reach into a magic quiver for your arrows every time would be too much. Maybe
No,
you
because
keep,
the arrows are massive. They're
Yeah.
bigger than
yeah, but,
But you would have had a non-magical quiver
quiver
before.
I would. Yeah,
So you've used 9, you said?
yeah.
Let's say you've got 11 more in your non-magical quiver.
All right.
Things we didn't think about before planning this session.
I knew there was going to be stuff like this that I didn't think about.
Do you need me to separate out radiant from cold? Or
No.
from
Just give
piercing?
it to me all at the same time.
Piercing. Yeah, piercing.
I forget that I'm not doing cold damage today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
so,
good you're not.
Yeah. 24 all told.
Okay.
Or
that's
you'd
a
be
lot.
the one throwing erasers.
And that brings us to the top of the round. So as Harmony is radiating light and Thaddeus is swinging with his javelin furiously into Shuten, Hunter is watching his arrows dwindle, Kamiko is stabbing into the back of one of the Oni, and Mara has just recalled her lightning-wreathed dagger. I think that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh,
So we'll pick up
boy.
there next Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, if I could talk.
Do you wanna?
Okay. Well, we hope to see you then. Hope you enjoyed watching. And have a good night. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Night.
Night.